Welcome, Evan.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, Leah, and good afternoon, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your lunch break and made valuable connections during that. Welcome to today's panel on scaling Gen AI, where we will explore how industries are integrating and scaling Gen AI. Our expert panelists will share insights on overcoming implementation challenges, leveraging collaboration, and the latest trends driving AI innovation. We will discuss how organizations are balancing Gen AI within traditional AI methods to stay competitive in an ever-evolving landscape. Let's unlock this transformative potential of AI together. Please welcome, with a big round of applause, my panelists on stage, Sandra Collomb from Airbus, Katrin Becker from ZF, Dr. Drass from Deutsche Bahn, and Nico Kelling from Infineon. Thank you very much, you all, for being here today and for sharing your valuable insights to us. Yesterday, we heard from major AI companies like Google, IBM, and Microsoft about the immense potential of Gen AI applications. And today, we'd like to ground those discussions into reality. Given the growing focus on Gen AI, we are also interested in how this trend impacts the implementation of more traditional AI in the industry. So, Michael, you're from Deutsche Bahn. Are your companies practically implementing Gen AI? And if not, is it to be in the focus on the future?
Yes, finally, we are at the stage that we are implementing and doing the rollout of Bahn GPT as a base service, let's say, for the whole corporate structure. We had a lot of fights, let's say, to do and to win at Deutsche Bahn, because we have a strong workers' council. Data privacy is really strong at Deutsche Bahn. And that's why we had to find a way how we can do the innovation, implementing such systems like Bahn GPT and being just compliant. And this was, let's say, a hard way. But we managed it, and now we are going into a scaling phase where we are, let's say, enhancing the capabilities of Bahn GPT, bringing some customization services into it, bringing software as a services into the whole ecosystem for Gen AI usage, let's say building a Gen AI hub like it is present at SAP, building an ecosystem in terms of integrating GitHub Copilot, AWS Code Whisper, and so on, so to cover, let's say, a bigger domain.
And when you're implementing Gen AI, what kind of challenges are you facing at Deutsche Bahn, and what kind of problems are you looking at right now?
As I said, the hardest work we had was not implementing it from an IT perspective, but bringing it in a compliant way into our company. This was the major challenge, and it was, let's say, also our workers' council is really focused on the topic Gen AI, because it has a big impact on all of our employees, and they want to be aware that these kind of systems, these strong systems, are, let's say, designed in that way that it brings benefit to our people.
Okay, I would like to play the point to Katrin. You are a digital transformation manager at ZF, and I would like to ask you, is ZF transforming towards Gen AI, and if yes, how?
Yeah, I have a bit of a déjà vu, because I think last year my colleague Martina sat exactly on that chair, so 1 year ago she was here answering a similar question. And I have to say, I'm kind of happy where we are now after 1 year.
So you made progress.
Yeah, we made progress, but yeah, it was also like a struggle at some point. So what have we achieved? Let me bring 2 examples where we really moved beyond the pilot phase. No surprise, GitHub Copilot, also there for our software developers. I would say, on average, they say 50% productivity gain. Some of them even feel kind of emotionally attached to the tool. So they say, if you take it from me, I would really miss it. So yeah, it has a strong business case. So the CFO is happy, but also the developers are happy. And the second example that we worked on in the past months is the global IT help desk. So it's a chatbot, and you can imagine that in a company of 170,000 people, there are plenty of incidents popping up every day. Password reset, I need this software, I need information about this process or that tool specific to ZF. Yeah, so this new bot powered by GenAI helps to solve these incidents faster. And yeah, the team started a soft launch, let's say, where they closely monitored the user feedback. At the beginning, there was quite some hallucination as well, so we have some anecdotes as well about this. But yeah, it's improving, more and more content gets added, also more languages. So yeah, really happy that this IT help bot now also helps us to reduce the number of incidents that really require human interaction, or yeah, they avoid a call to a hotline, let's say. And this is just the beginning, and it's a mix, I would say. We have products that we just buy off the shelf, like GitHub Copilot or Synthesia, but then on the other hand, like the IT help bot shows, we also develop some custom solutions.
Thank you. Sandra, you are at Airbus, and Airbus has been a pioneer in adopting cutting-edge AI technologies to enhance in its digital strategy. In light of the recent Gen AI hype, how are you balancing the implementation of Gen AI also in cooperation with more traditional AI methods?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me.
Sure.
And I'm happy that you acknowledge that we indeed pioneer.
Yeah.
Airbus is really not new, so the AI is not new for Airbus. We started already, I can remember 2016, I heard for the first time that we have implemented AI in our solutions for, I don't know, maybe refueling maneuvers is one example, or astronaut assists we do with AI. But we have so many different areas where we are working with the more traditional side of AI. Now, when we look into Gen AI, then we have similar examples like the one from ZF, where we use chatbots to support our people and avoid the basic nagging questions that are recurring and not really value-adding also for a person who would sit on the other end of the help desk. But then, and this resonates a bit with what Michael said, we have strong regulations. So as an aerospace industry, we are highly depending on not only the Workers' Council, who are also interested, but we have the external authorities like the EASA, was really keen on making sure that the safety aspects are met. So for us, it's always the balance between where do we endanger our IP, our data privacy, cybersecurity, where do we endanger safety standards, and we need to balance that. So traditional AI for us is really more a safer bet on the safety-related topics, whereas Gen AI in the moment is more driven for efficiency gains that we want to ensure.
And do you wish to have, in the regulatory landscape, a more another approach, maybe from politicians as well as in Brussels?
Well, I think important is that we stay realistic, but at the same time, we really believe in this fail-safe mindset. So in Airbus, AI is a mean. It's not a purpose in itself. So I think it's really important that we keep the high standards, that we are not risking any incidents, any accidents, and that is in all of our flying platforms. So we believe in the safety culture.
Yeah.
So I think it is really important that we also, for AI, that we are adding this ethical and sustainable aspect to it. So Airbus is a big fan of that.
Especially for Airbus, I mean, safety is priority number one, right?
It is.
All right, thank you very much. Nico, as a leader in semiconductor solutions, Infineon is uniquely positioned to integrate AI into both hardware and software ecosystems. How is Infineon leveraging traditional AI and Gen AI to enhance your products?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. I think AI is really a core topic for us across all the entire organization. We use classical AI in all the fields, what we're doing internally in the R&D space, in the manufacturing and supply chain space, in the sales and marketing domain. So the objectives here is, of course, reducing resource consumption or energy consumption, improving yield, improving quality, reducing time to market, achieving better product fit, so optimizing type of algorithms. Similar things also apply when we then come from classical AI, machine learning, deep learning, bringing this to the edge, so bring it into the devices. That's what we offer to the customers, enabling use of these applications in real everyday kind of applications, bringing this AI smartness into the devices, whether that's the smart autonomous driving car that you can control by voice or by other types of HMI sensor-based. Also, the autonomous driving car needs to detect the ambulance car or the direction of the arrival, these type of applications. And there, of course, it's all the layers from the hardware stack, the sensing, the microcontrollers with specifically optimized circuits to run these inferences then in the real application. Also to the software layers, the tooling layers to help customers to arrive at robust AI applications in the embedded space. That has some similarities, but also some specialties compared to local or cloud-based deployments, but also then providing real ready algorithms for customers to integrate. Now, when it comes to Gen AI, of course, that puts a complete different speed into the topic. It's a very fast-moving topic. And we have essentially derived 4 clusters of how we use this. And I think I seem to hear that's starting to become pretty common pattern here, really in easier access to information, complex information, also distributed documentation. Now we're moving into the next phase. We started with providing general chatbots to everybody in the company, safe way, not the public ones, but those that we operate on-prem, and add the capability to connect with documents, to select task-specific system prompts. Now really coming to the level of the explainability for the more complex parts, technical support type things. That's one domain. The next is then on coding space. We have heard that, so I guess I don't need to repeat that. That's, of course, a big thing. Content generation is also a big thing. And then also assistance and bot-based. And there maybe to highlight one of the use cases, and I think it's also a pretty common use case across industries, is in the shop floor maintenance assistance space. So that's where we have a lot of expensive equipment all over the world, quite effortsome and requires a lot of deep skills. And now having these kind of systems that can make available to the people quickly all the instructions, but also the history of past cases of maintenance, but also automatically triggering report generation, stuff like that from the system, which saves them, in addition, also a lot of time. So just to name a few examples.
Yeah, thank you for those examples, and it sounds really interesting. Can you elaborate maybe a little bit more about challenges you might have in those examples? I mean, you mentioned autonomous driving. We had Volkswagen here today. Are there some challenges you wanna talk to us about, or some insights that you wanna share?
Of course, it's manifold challenges, of course, and it goes through all the different dimensions from skills, from standardization in the data platforms and the data availability. But now specifically about Gen AI, of course, the first thing is to protect from loss of IP into some other models, etc. But then also how to make it happen inside the company so that it actually scales. And a fundamental prerequisite for that is really to make it robust, explainable, transparent to the users, so that we can really work and either well assess the quality of the output, or eventually even rely on that. And that's, of course, the target to get there. That's one of the biggest things. And then in corporate perspective, we have more than 100 use cases already. That needs to be managed in a way, standardized approaches, governed approaches, really, so that we are able to maintain them in the long run, and that we don't do 5 times the same thing over and over again. And yesterday we heard about the sovereignty of the elements that we use inside there, so both on the data side, but also on the model side, etc. And that's also another very important point.
Okay, maybe just in one sentence for each and every one of you, would you prioritize Gen AI or more traditional AI, and how is it split in your company? Can you make a difference, or is it hard to tell? Maybe you can start.
I think we really need both. It's not one or the other. In most of or in many use cases, we actually see them come together in the same use case. So some data preparation, some data asset generation, and then the interface to the human user, for instance, through some Gen AI or things like this. It's really both that we need to look at.
Michael, I know you told me before I can do one Deutsche Bahn joke. I mean,
maybe one is accepted.
Maybe I'll get back to that later because I have something written down here. How is it at Deutsche Bahn? Are you using Gen AI really in your processes, or is it more the traditional AI approach?
I think we are developing 10 years ago machine learning systems. So basically, since we are a heavy metal company with traditional AI systems, you can solve more individually your problem. And I think we have the bubble with Gen AI, and it is really fast in the development itself. And the capabilities are great, but not every problem is, let's say, fixed to a Gen AI solution. I'm with Nico. We need both. I think the focus on Gen AI is really on chatbots, on coding, on the assistant side. But if you have really complex business problems to solve, you should start with an, let's say, traditional machine learning approach. And one colleague of mine is always saying, start with a decision tree analysis, and then you can, let's say, increase the complexity of what kind of AI systems you're trying to implement. Because, in our opinion, decision trees solve a lot of problems. It's not so sexy, let's say, like using a Gen AI chatbot, but it helps.
Okay. Would you two like to add on that?
For Airbus, it's exactly that. We also need both approaches, and one type does not serve our purposes. So I go for both, and it's a mixture of the two answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also say this is maybe in this question not a panel discussion, but rather panel consensus. But I have to say, like 1.5 years ago, most of us in ZF, or many of us, are trapped into this fall of like just catching this new shiny object. So we forgot for a moment about all the cool things that we developed already before. Like you said, like 10 years ago, or roughly around that, we also started with AI labs developing robust and solid solutions that proved to generate savings. So now we are back saying, okay, scaling of that thing is important, but still exploring this new shiny.
Yeah, thank you. As we look ahead, Gen AI is poised to revolutionize how businesses operate, innovate and compete. We will now explore the most promising trends and advancements in classical and Gen AI, and discussing how companies can prepare for those developments. And Sandra, as you said, Airbus is a very safe priority safety company, of course, but in the sense of innovation, what kind of trends do you see for Gen AI in your industry especially?
Well, I think there's still lots of room on the edge. So bringing AI into our products, into deploying platforms, there is still room to grow, I would say. Then when we're looking into unmanned flights, into human interfaces like pilot assist, one pilot operation, no pilot operations, these topics. Air traffic management has potential, user experience has potential, so how does a passenger enter the aircraft, what is the experience, how personalized is that? Definitely room, but also there's a trend for more regulations. So what we see also, it's not only Europe, we have to prepare our aircrafts for operation all around the world, so there are different regulations from different authorities, and they are not necessarily talking to each other. So I think this trend needs to be considered as well.
Thank you. maybe we stay at transportation. Michael, the Gen A hype is moving faster than a high-speed train. Maybe not the ones from Deutsche Bahn, but in general.
Yeah.
That was
my
the
Deutsche
joke.
Bahn joke. And maybe you can tell us something about Gen AI trends that you see, especially at Deutsche Bahn and maybe at the transport industry as well.
Yeah, I think everybody's talking about agentic Gen AI systems. So I think this is a trend which we will see in the future more often. It's nothing new. It's really, let's say, an easy approach to have more, let's say, Gen AI models which are interacting based on a role to solve a problem. I think an interesting topic we are trying to develop at Deutsche Bahn is to automate governance, regulation requirements, that they are automatically, let's say, created by a Gen AI. We all know we have a lot of documentation efforts based on the EU AI Act or data privacy and so on and so forth. And nobody wants to have this overhead, but it's there and we cannot fight against it. So we have to think clever how we can solve it with AI. And it's, I think, a good use case to, say, put efforts into governance automation.
Can you elaborate a bit more about governance automation? What does it exactly mean?
It means basically if you try to implement IT, simple IT, you always have to put a lot of effort into fulfilling the data privacy requirements. And you have always, and it's special at Deutsche Bahn, you have to create or write a lot of documentation, whether the data you are using or you are trying to put into IT system, is there a data privacy issue in it or not, and you have to write a lot of documentation. And here basically you can use Gen AI, which is looking at the IT system itself and then can fulfill the documentation. And the same applies then to the EU AI Act, and we are trying to look how we can automate it then.
Okay, thank you. Nico, coming to semiconductors again, what trends do you see emerging, especially in Gen AI and maybe also in traditional AI in your company and your industry as well?
I think one of the key trends was already mentioned a few times, this emergence now and really coming up of the edge AI, really bringing the smartness into the systems and this way allowing to scale really in volume, getting into the applications. And in this space we might even see, or I think we will see, the emergence also even Gen AI type technologies, transformers getting into this space as well. They allow different, both in the way how algorithms are developed for the edge, but eventually also as part of the model in the application in the end. In terms of Gen AI, of course, now the big trend is really moving now from these simple chat-based type of things to something that is integrated in the system, that is robust, dependable, reliable, trustworthy. And in this way, it's also, I would call it a democratization also of this technology, allowing take advantage of these technologies for everybody in the organization, not just a few application developers. And I think that will be the biggest transformation, really how we think, how we operate with this data, and now giving everybody the capability, extended capabilities to work with this data.
Is there something that Infineon is doing specifically to prepare for those trends? I mean, are you doing like a foresight, or like how is R&D looking for specific trends? Do you know about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of activities what people do in anticipating the future. We had some foresight projects as well, but of course developing target pictures for the future, how we envision the development of tomorrow, and then think backwards what we need to do in order to get there. Things like this. We do also systematic ideation across the organization, looking at specific pain points, matching that with technology and trying to derive use cases that have the potential to scale. And last but not least, I think one of the very important things is also to take people along and make them part of this journey, because the distributed power of ideas, that's really the thing. So really spending in the upskilling, in the information, and making everybody aware of these capabilities that are going to come.
Yeah, thank you. Katrin, ZF is also a very heavy industry. Are you also taking the people with you on the AI journey, and what kind of trends do you see in your industry?
Yeah, taking people with us. Yeah, good keyword. We have to say, or I have to say, we also learned that we need to be quite patient. We thought when we rolled out a few things, let's take Microsoft Copilot as an example. Yep. We just communicate it broadly, we make it available, and then people will just use it because it's great.
And no one used it?
Yeah, but adoption rates are, it was a bit shocking at the beginning. And I mean, we all know that there are digital enthusiasts, but also people who are maybe a little bit hesitant, who just don't know how to use it, or even afraid. So yeah, communications, awareness training is a big thing. Yeah. And sorry, what was the second question?
What kind of trends do you see for your industry at ZF especially?
Yeah, I would say there are more and more use cases coming up. You mentioned, Nico, already the shop floor. I mean, we have 188 plants. You can imagine there's huge potential there. So yeah. We're just getting started.
Yeah.
Can I just add one element on, because I skipped the question on the preparing. One element, we do a lot of other stuff, but for us, we dedicate learning time and personal development time for our people, especially in the IT teams, or in the teams that really are in contact with digital content. They have 10% every week dedicated to personal growth. And we have an internal digital academy where we are also serving the overall organization to really dedicate time for upskilling, so everyone understands what does digital bring to me. So we have upskilled 2,000 engineers with nano degrees recently, and that's a really, really big focus for us to make sure that everyone understands what digital brings, and it's not just a central team. So and democratizing is a good keyword.
And it's also not something that just comes on top, because this is also what people tell us. I'm already so busy. When should I take the time to look into these new things?
We even block the agenda, so it's every Friday afternoon for everyone.
Okay.
That's impressive.
It's really cool, huh?
Yeah. Thank you so much for your insights so far. As we explore a little bit more of the future of the AI, it becomes maybe more clear that no single industry alone can drive innovation, and cross-industry collaboration, I think, will be key to accelerate the development and the deployment of Gen AI technologies. So working together with other companies will be a key issue. Nico, Infineon has long been at the forefront of integrating AI, as you said, into semiconductors development. Looking at your partnerships maybe with other industries, how have cross-industry collaboration maybe accelerated your Gen AI implications and your processes internally?
Yeah, I think it's very crucial actually indeed to gain speed in this fast-moving world, and I think it's on very different levels. So first of all, as you mentioned, the innovation itself that goes into the product often is not invented just in one organization itself. It's strong collaboration. We have a very strong collaboration platform with startup and this ecosystem around there, co-innovation with other companies together. That's one area. Second area is, of course, working very closely together with customers on specific applications. Many of these applications really require a deep understanding through the value chain. And I think we had some nice example in some joint projects recently where the algorithms was brought into the vehicle together for better dynamics of the self-driving car. And that's really going all the way from the application understanding, the algorithm development, and then the implementation, safe implementation on an embedded architecture. And the third one is, I think that also I want to mention, especially in the area of AI. AI is a complex topic, which organizationally needs to be managed. And there's frameworks like Applied AI, which allow to do really work together and learn faster together, how to reach AI maturity, as we call it, in the organization, which types of elements to look at, what and how to set certain things up in order to progress on this AI capability, meaning the capability to implement AI solutions that scale.
Can you tell us more about like maybe direct cooperations that you have with other companies?
Yeah, direct cooperations. I mentioned one together with ZF, which was also recently announced in funding projects. But also I can mention another one where we did a cross-company, cross-industry entrepreneurs bootcamp, for instance, with Siemens, also where we brought in for the topic of sustainability in manufacturing, brought entrepreneurs from both organizations together, really to co-innovate, come up with new ideas, how to bring new use cases of achieving sustainability in this environment.
Thank you. Michael, you told us about some challenges you had with implementing Gen AI maybe. Can you elaborate maybe on projects that you have with other partners, with cross-industry partnerships that might help you to overcome, that has helped you to overcome challenges in implementing AI, and how is Deutsche Bahn especially looking into the future of partnerships and cross-company collaboration?
I mean, there are different perspectives. I think it's really important to collaborate, really deeply cooperate with academia. So in order to have a look and feel into research topics, and maybe also bringing the talents then into your company, because it's important to have also a research perspective in big corporates to see what are the trends. I mean, the really top-notch trends from the research perspective, not the blah, blah, blah we are talking, let's say, on a high level, but really what's under the hood. This is important. Then we have some accelerator programs where we have lots of cooperations with startups, so we have to have a connection to the startup market. I think it's also important to show presence in such initiatives like EPI, KI Park, AI Hub, and so on, to have, let's say, to be part of this ecosystem which is developing in Germany really fast and which is really great. And it's also important to, let's say, do things. If we have a business problem at Deutsche Bahn and we see a big other company has the same problem, that you try to solve it together, and there we are working on a special project. I kind of talk about it, but this is really interesting to see what happens if two big companies try to solve one problem for both then. It's interesting to see.
Yeah. Thank you. Sandra, for industries like aviation and also for automotive, partnerships across sectors are crucial for pushing the boundaries of what AI can achieve. What do you see as the biggest opportunity areas for partnerships in the future and for innovating at Airbus?
Well, for us, it's really important that we are not in our big, slow mothership, and that we are really allowing a bit more, the external world also to come in. So we want to be also a catalyst for the whole ecosystem. But with that, we have lots of cooperation with universities, research institutes, but also smaller startups. And we even have now 2 companies, Airbus Up Next and Airbus Scale, which are a bit independent from the mothership, and who are really here to engage with smaller companies, startups, to elaborate, to see what we can then bring back into the big corporate. And one example I wanted to give is also our biggest European defense projects called FCAS, where we had a study, we launched a study for non-traditional players to make sure that within this huge, heavy, slow project with the governments and us as a company, that we are bringing in a bit more agility and a bit more of an AI focus, allowing those players to attend. So for us, that's where we can really see a difference, and that's how we get more the agility in, and the impulses, and the slightly nagging and nagging questions. But this is the way how we try to do it.
You're trying to innovate and to foster collaborations. Exactly. Yeah, that's good, because our president Ralf said in his keynote, you should play to win and not to play not to lose, right? And it's good to see that Airbus is also doing the play to win game. ZF, how Katrin is ZF doing in the partnerships, and what do you see is your biggest selling point for partners in the future?
Yeah. So for us, also partnerships are essential, and we also have some success stories, I would say. One is
together with Infineon.
Yes, next to that, there's another one. We developed a digital manufacturing platform with Microsoft, and I mentioned these around 200 plants we're having, and just a few years back, they were all overwhelmed with manually collecting data from machines, like identifying why machines did break down, and they all did already come up with local solutions for that, and that's of course a little bit inefficient. So together with Microsoft and also PwC, this digital manufacturing platform project got founded and piloted in one German plant and is now rolled out worldwide for a more consistent, let's say, data-driven overview about manufacturing activities. And this is like a super solid basis that we created with this partnership that also allows us to add more features to it, like the computer vision toolbox to identify quality problems and so on. So, good experience with partnerships.
Thank you. Yeah, perfect. We are now coming towards the end of our panel, and as we bring together the Gen AI hype and the future trends, and of course collaborating with other partners, I would like to do a final round maybe with you, and to ask the question, what do you believe is the most important thing or strategy to ensure that Gen AI not only drives innovation, but also delivers a tangible business value? I don't know who wants to start. Maybe Sandra, you can go first.
I just try to avoid your eyes, but I go first. So business value for us, and I repeated it already, we love to make it fly. We're into flying platforms, so AI is the enabler. Never forget the safety aspects on the topics. And I think the more we educate, the more we democratize, the better it is, the more we can leverage. And I think having the understanding what digital can bring, what AI can bring to all our 220,000 people, I think that's the key to success. And then we need Gen AI, we need traditional AI, and we need to be open in our traditional aviation industry to be curious.
And to innovate.
Yes.
Thanks. And Katrin.
Before I came here, I was of course working in Friedrichshafen, Lake Constant, and right now I can say the whole atmosphere is not so good. I mean, you haven't, or you have probably heard that automotive industry is in a bit of a crisis. So mantra right now is savings, savings, savings. But good news is, like AI, really delivers those savings. So it's sometimes hard to estimate with the business what could be savings. Often it's just a guess. Also estimating implementation costs or running costs, that's hard, but it's worth it. And we see already that these first solutions, they actually bring those benefits. So really happy that I got even more like impulses here, happy to bring them back to my colleagues in Friedrichshafen and around the world. And so let's see what comes in the next 12 months.
So staying positive on that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Michael.
I think you need a holistic task force, let's say, how to efficiently integrate Gen AI. So bringing the legal teams, the data privacy teams, the workers' council, the business, the IT together to innovate fast and compliant. I think this is important. And this is a major step we have to go and face at Deutsche Bahn.
That sounds really complicated for a structure like Deutsche Bahn.
This is a hell, messy. If you have to really with research, data scientists in one room with legals. It's crazy, but it's important. And we have to find a way how they can communicate and find one language. And then we can innovate and be compliant.
If there's something who can do this, then I think it's you.
Yes, of course.
And the last few words from Nico, please.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, I think three things. We have to think big, think forward, and find out the way to make it happen. Figure out how it works. Not to wait until others have proven that it works. Second thing, we have to do it right. There's some risks involved as well. So we have to really think carefully how to do it, and all start, of course, on a solid understanding of data. And the third thing is we have to do it together, and together is meant both inside the company, but also across industry, the European collaboration using the entire ecosystem here.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Sandra, Katrin, Michael, and Nico, for taking the time and for sharing your valuable insights with us today. I hope you will enjoy the rest of our event as well as our guests here in this room. And yeah, give them please a very warm applause.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.